that are online or system is giving some problems. So I am not sure what's going on with the system. I'm not sure if you all are hearing anything that I'm saying. All right, I'm not sure if you all are picking up anything that I am saying right now. Yeah? Are you all, you still can't hear? You all are still not hearing anything? I'm still trying to see how I can have this problem sorted out here because I'm still trying to see how I can solve this problem here.
I'm here to kill somebody. It's time that you stop that nonsense. We come here to enjoy ourselves. Leave hatred right there on top the shelf. This party is no violence. All we want is unity and peace. Hey, in the party, we don't have to live like peace. No, no, no. All we want is unity and peace. Hey, in the party, we don't have to live like peace. No, no, no. Na 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 na. Hey yo, na 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 na. Hey yo, what you come here for? What you come here for? What you come here for? What you come here? What you come here? What you come here for? All we want is unity and peace. Hey, in the party, we don't have to live like peace. No, no, no. All we want is unity and peace. Hey, in the party, we don't have to live like peace. No, no, no. Oh, you mean it? That's right. The party park up like shingle, but you know you don't want to mingle. Anytime somebody bunks you, you're ready to fight like an eagle. You don't want no bunks, well stay home. Leave party animals alone. Like a king, go sit on your throne. Don't come here to spoil this session. All we want is unity and peace. Hey,
All right, I think you all should be okay now.
peace. No, no, no. All we want is unity.
I'm saying a special good night to all of you who've joined us via Facebook, all of you who've joined us via YouTube, and of course, our very, very patient listeners. They've been hearing us for the entire time who are listening via 91.9, 91.5. And I've got to go straight to the phone line. Hello, good night. Hello, good night. Hi, good night.
Yeah, I heard you by St. Patrick's Real Radio.
Yes, of course. I know they've been hearing me. All right, but you should be hearing me online now as well. Okay?
Hey?
You should be hearing me online now as well.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you very much. All right. Yes, indeed. So I know that the phone line is working as well. Yeah, there's a problem, internal problem here. It's not a problem with Facebook. It's not a problem with YouTube. It's an internal problem here, which means that I'm going to have to spend most of the day in the studio tomorrow sorting out that particular issue. Huh?
No one knows me none, so everything is fine.
So 4407377, yeah, we're going to get straight into it. We already lost 22 minutes fighting up to try and find that problem. I can't even go to the shout-outs tonight. But I must call out them. You know those three kids? Zayla, Zoe, and Exalia. I must call them out, you know. Joyce, I know that you're listening as well, yeah. But we're going to open the phone lines. Yeah, listen, again, over the weekend, oh, goodness. So, I was on my way home today and then was informed of yet another murder taking place. And over the weekend, heard of another shooting incident, hearing it's a murder again over the weekend. So at least two over the past few days. Let's just hope that's it for the year. Let's hope that's it for the year and even for next year too. Let's just hope that that's it, yeah? I am no member of the Royal Grenada Police Force. I do not have details in relation to what is happening. All I can say is that what is happening is affecting our people. A lot of people are feeling very unsafe. Yeah? A lot of people are feeling very unsafe, particularly with the one that happened this afternoon. A lot of people are feeling very, very unsafe. And we've been hearing, you remember, the Prime Minister came out and he spoke and he said, he's willing to work. I don't know if the opposition has heard anything from him yet. I don't know if he's waiting for the opposition to come to him or the opposition is waiting for him to come to the opposition. But we haven't heard anything. What's the crime strategy going forward? We are now heading into the later months of the year. Believe it or not, we're into the final few months of 2023. I know some of you are still hearing the echoes. Some of us are still hearing the echoes from the New Year's Day, fireworks and so on. I can still remember coming outside to see the fireworks for New Year's Day and coming and looking and seeing the fireworks all around and that sort of thing. And to me, that was just like if it was last month. But we are in the month of September and we are already heading towards the end of the year. Now, last year, what we recognized was that coming down to the end of the year, when it was getting close to the Christmas time, we had a spate of robberies. You had some armed robberies. You had different things taking place coming up to Christmas. Yeah? Where that desperation in some folks set in because they want to make sure they have as quote-unquote nice Christmas. And as such, they believe that they need to have this and they must have that and they must have the other and so on. And some folks go above and beyond to make that happen. Right? So it means that business people have to be a lot more careful. All the time, you should be careful, but especially as you head into the Yuletide season, where there are a lot of transactions taking place and so on, and a lot of people waiting for those transactions to take place and that sort of thing as well. So businessmen need to be careful, but where is the government on this? Yes, okay, you're putting together a strategy and you're putting together a plan. Yeah? Have we been hearing? I was looking at a post on Facebook earlier and one individual was making sure. Let me just take this call and I'll get back to that Facebook post. We've got a call online. Good night.
Yep, good night.
Good night, my dear. How are you?
I'm okay.
All right, go right ahead. You're live.
You know, I don't want to be live because I don't want
Well,
to
no, then you're not supposed to call a live radio program if you don't want to be live. You're live. You're on air. Right now, everybody hearing you. Yeah, so you'll have to. Well, I can't even say call back later because as soon as the program is done, I am out of here. But you can hit me a WhatsApp message on the number you've just called.
Okay, listen to me.
Remember, you're live, eh? So go ahead.
Since last year, the back pay they say they were sharing, are supposed to get. And not me alone, it's a lot of us, right?
Back pay.
And up to now, we not receive our money, and they tell us since last year Christmas we'll get it, and coming to the ending of the year now, and we don't receive it yet. So I want to talk about it first, please.
Okay, my dear. All right,
Thank
I'll
you.
dig into that.
Okay then.
You work to, well. In fact, we'll talk that one off air. Give me a call. Give me a
I used to
message.
work in the hospital.
Oh, okay. Oh, I did hear of a situation like that. Let me dig into that one for you.
Okay then.
All right, my dear.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm saying we have a situation. We can't deny that there's a situation. Come on, what we up to now? 18? Is it 18, 17, 18, somewhere around there? What's the plan? Where are we going? Yeah? We have a caller online. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Sheldon. Caesar St. John here.
Yes, ma'am.
I got some stuff together for the personnel. You have uniform, you have shoes, and other clothes.
I haven't heard what you said, you know. You were kind of muffled there. Could you repeat it, please?
Yeah, I was telling you, I got some stuff together. Remember night I called?
Oh, yes.
So I have some stuff together. Yeah.
Okay.
So I don't know how you will get it. I live in Grand Mall,
Okay. Teresa.
St. John.
Okay. I'll find you. In Grand Mall, eh?
Right there. I'm after you pass Hippos there.
Yeah.
But I'm more on the top side.
Oh, yeah.
You know, like where they have they have a little preschool there.
Yeah,
There's
I
a
know.
bottom house on the side down below.
I know the area, so I'll
Right.
check you out.
Okay then.
All right, my dear.
I have
Thank
it
you.
right by me. They're watching me.
Okay.
All right.
All right. Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Yes, indeed. Yeah, you see, folks always trying to help. Folks are always trying to help, right? And we know, even now there are some students that have gone to school and things still not 100%. They're in school, but it's still not 100%. So we're still trying to see how we can help and continuously assist and so on. I just want to thank all of you, though, who have been calling and messaging. They tuned in and they wasn't hearing anything, and it's like every 2 minutes the phone going off, but I can't answer the phone because I was here trying to sort out and talking with my technical people and trying to sort out and different things. But we've got it on. So I'm saying we need to find out what is the plan moving forward. What is the plan? We're going into the independence celebrations. We're going to be having celebrations and activities on a national level. We're going to be having stuff on a parish level, maybe even on a village level. We're going to have activities. What is the plan to roll out with the Royal Grenada Police Force in relation to all of this? What is the plan going forward? Yeah? Have the opposition. Listen, we had Mr. Nimrod Olivier, and I'm sure he's listening tonight. Nimrod Olivier, if you're listening, give your boy a buzz. Nimrod Olivier, he came on this program. He spoke on several programs, gave advice. He has a wealth of knowledge. You have several ex-police officers from the US, from Canada, from the UK, who have returned and are now living back here in Grenada. You have people who have military experience, who were in the military in different countries, even regionally, who are back here. You have people who were police officers here locally and did an excellent job, who are now retired. Have they been brought together and asked a question and said, well, okay, we want to form a committee with all the ex-police officers so that you all could give advice. I know several who have inspectors, superintendents, Listen, so many of them that are out there that did an excellent job, have they been engaged? Because we are getting to a state that we don't want to be. We are not quite there yet. And this isn't an NNP and an NDC issue. This is an issue of leadership in times of a serious, serious crisis. Yeah? What you have a demoralized Royal Grenada Police Force. What are you doing to energize them? Just a couple weeks ago, you took 2 senior officers and you demoted them. You have another senior officer who I'm hearing rumors that you're about to take from within the police force and put into another government entity at a similar level because you want to take him out of the police force. You're hearing those things. You've removed the 2 officers, you've demoted them. Yeah? You spoke about promotions, nobody hearing anything about that again. You have people who were on the promotions list for over 2 years that were bypassed, and other people were taken and given promotion and so on. While the people who were bypassed and were on the promotion list were actually more qualified, scored higher in exams and so on, and were left at the wayside while you promoted other people. And again, I have no problem with the people who were promoted. Yeah? The people who were promoted, I know many of them, well deserving. Well deserving. I know several people who went up to corporal and sergeant and different things and inspector and so on. Well deserving. So don't look at any of the people who have been promoted and be upset with them in any way. What I'm saying is that there are others who are now being demoted. Yeah? There are others who are waiting on the next batch of promotions that they speak about. And nothing. Nothing. So we're saying to them, what is the plan? What is the strategy to go forward? Yeah? What is the plan and what is the strategy to go forward? And let me clear the lines. Right. 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. For those of you who might be outside of Grenada, I know usually you all know what's taking place in Grenada before those of us here. There was a shooting in St. Paul's, I believe it was Saturday night, yes. There was a shooting in St. Paul's, 1 individual died, and there was a shooting this evening in Woburn where another individual has perished, yeah? There was talk of, well, in fact, let me not even get into that because that's just things that I heard. And I don't want to go and start to say that and spread something. The bottom line is somebody died on Saturday night from a shooting. Someone died this evening in relation to a shooting. All the talk surrounding it, I'm going to leave that alone. The Royal Grenada Police Force going to do their job. I think we have a caller coming in via the WhatsApp. And I really have to get a faster machine for the WhatsApp. This machine is dragging. So let me just get a faster machine for that. But we have a caller online on the WhatsApp. Hello, good night.
Hello, Sharon.
Hi, good night. You go right ahead. You're live.
Hello?
You're live. Go right ahead. Hello, caller. I'm hearing you clearly. I'm hearing you clearly. You know, you go right ahead. You're live.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Yeah, Brother Sheldon, go ahead.
Yeah, go
Yeah,
ahead.
Brother Sheldon, school opened about last week. And you're hearing people complaining that some of the children, the parents were unable to send them to school. Right? Because I know the parents made the best effort, but things was so bad with them, they were unable to send their children to school. While that's going on, school open, you have where ministers passing in all school and dropping money. Right? Dropping money in schools. But Sheldon, when you look at that, you look like evil means thinking before behind. Right? Some of the children who are unable to go to school, you drop money in the school. Why? And I do believe some of the parents that happened to. They were working and they lost the job of no fault of theirs. The only fault that they had because they vote for NMP. Right? And no school open, they are unable to send their children to school. But have ministers passing in the school or school open and dropping money in the school. But Sheldon, when you look at that, it comes like that this government they don't think. Right? They don't think because they have people in all the constituency towards the 15. They could have find out what is the situation of some parents, right, and see how they could reach out and help them. Right? So the children that are unable to go to school, the out of school, so ending up people have to reach out and help them. And I always see in Grenada, there is people that cares and love people. When they get to know what is going to be parents, they reach out and help them. And many NMPs, members and supporters, once they know the situation are going on with their children, they can reach out and help them. I want to say was with Nimrod, Oliver Nimrod. That's a man that care about people. And he did a party that care. We are leader with a leader that is care. And other members that care and support that care about people. Once they know the situation of children, they reach out and them, help them. Not as some of the supporters of the other party, they don't care who they care about themselves, right? They don't care about the less fortunate people. Right? So I want to say to the NNP supporters, the NNP party, once you know a situation like that, you could report it to, let's say, like wherever the village where you live in, to someone. Someone will help you. Don't keep it. Someone will help you, because when you look at what the government is doing, they don't care. You take away the bread and butter from the parents' hand, right? And we leave them with nothing. And that is to get the children food. Boss to pay the money to pay the boss, and still buy books, and you take away a job for them. And yet, the children unable to go to school, they drop in the money in the school. How will the children get that when they cannot go to school? The only way they go to Samaritan, that we always reach out and help them when they know the situation, what is going on with their children. So, brother Sheldon, have a blessing.
All right, thank you. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get onto tonight's program. And you know what? I wanna say a special happy birthday to somebody. Yeah. I want to say a very special happy birthday to somebody. I want to say a very special happy birthday to Mr. Selwyn Noel. Yes, Durity. Yeah, the man who sing that song there. Yeah, I want to say a very, very special happy birthday to him. We've got a call online. Happy birthday, Selwyn. Yes, we have a call online.
Good afternoon. Good night, Sheldon Scott.
Good night, sir. How are you?
And good night to all the listeners.
All right.
I'm very blessed and I thank God. I want to say condolence to the people who lost their two Saturday and today, with the accident, with the shooting. I would love to say condolence to them. Sheldon Scott, I have an idea and I have a way something should run. I sit down home and I think about that. Why when someone's sick, right? We going wrong begging for donation for them. Why is all them government what come in? Why is it they not budget something in the budget for that? So when people sick, they don't supposed to go around and begging for donation. Why they don't do a budget? So when people are health issue, not everybody could supply, but those who really need the help. Because sometimes you go wrong doing a motorcade, and sometimes it's not safe. I think government should come in and give in the biggest help. Mm-hmm. Yeah, so I love to see. Well, as I always say, I don't have nothing much to say tonight because I'm just watching and I'm just hoping to pray because I haven't seen nothing happening on the grounds. As I always say that, I haven't seen no construction work going on, nothing. So that's all my point for tonight, for all now, right. Until next week again. Okay, Mike. Well, you could call any day of the week, you know, because we're here Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, so you could call any. Yeah, well, that's my program now. All right, program. My brother. Always just my program. But what I will tell you is this, in relation to the... I don't have all you on Facebook. That's the problem I'm missing. You're all on Facebook. Oh, and you're all on WhatsApp. Okay. But let me tell you this, though, before you go, though. The issue you're talking about, remember the New National Party had been speaking about national health insurance. Mm-hmm. Now, with the national health insurance, the same way people pay the NIS, you'd be paying something towards a national health insurance. And I agree with that. I agree. What it would have had, therefore, is that you'd have a package, a basket of goods, a basket of services that anybody could access. Yeah. So instead of having to go around with baskets and a music truck to try and collect money, the monies that were collected under the national health insurance would have been able to pay for some services locally
and even some regionally or internationally.
Yeah, I'm really concerned about that. I wish they could do a budget and balance back that, because you have a lot of Grenadians really hot it. Because I myself helping people go back to school with exercise and so on, begging for like a donation for them to help them family to go to school, because it's really tough over there, and I could tell you that it's very, very rough with some parents. They really can't afford certain things for their children. And I do my very best on my part what I could do. I don't have nothing for myself. I need help for myself, but I love to see children go and get their education. I didn't get a proper education, but I love to see people go on and father themselves, especially young children. Because a lot of youths are seeing them home, and trust me, my heart goes out because they don't have a day work, and I know how it feels painful, because I work and sometimes when I have a day off, it's very stressful home. I'm telling you. So the government has to look into that, because remember, you promise all these young people a lot of things. You promise them to legalize marijuana, do all that and things.
Waiting on that one.
All the votes and things. So as a person, I don't like coming on the air and talk much. As I like to sit down and listen and then come in my facts.
Okay.
Okay.
All right. Thank you very much, caller.
You too.
All right. And the caller is correct, but remember, prior to the last elections, the New National Party had been speaking about the issue of national health insurance. And one of the ways the national health insurance would have assisted with that, many of the things that you see people having to go and get these things for, you would have been able to have the money from the national health insurance. People would have their card and so on. You would have had the money through the national health insurance to assist people. Yeah? Excuse me. So some procedures that need to be done, you'd have been able to access funding through the national health insurance to get that done. Instead of that, we're not hearing anything about the national health insurance. No, I don't know the last time I heard anything, particularly from this administration, about national health insurance. So I'm not sure if they are continuing with it, if it's an idea that they're looking at. I'm not sure where they're going at with it. But this was one of the reasons that the New National Party had been considering doing the national health insurance. 440-7377, that's the number for you to call and get on to tonight's program. Selwyn Noel, yes, brother.
Already arranged a thing with a steel man.
440-7377 and 347-329-3101. Not sure what's happening with my throat all of a sudden while I'm trying to talk tonight. I rebuke it.
Anywhere in this country. Young and boy, no boy. Young and boy, no boy. Young and boy, no.
But yeah, again, what is the strategy to deal with the upsurge that we are seeing in relation to crime? Well, in particular to murder. They're saying that the other areas, rape, etc., you're seeing that going down. Bravo. There was a lot of work over a lot of years to get things to that stage. What are we doing in relation to the issue of the murders that we are seeing right now? And especially with the upsurge in relation to murders using firearms. What is being done? Yeah, because you realize now we're hearing about shooting. And it's certainly in licensed firearm people that are doing these things. These are unlicensed, illegal firearms that are entering the state of Grenada, being used to do these things. You've had an upsurge in the amount of... Hi, Sherma. You found an upsurge in the amount of firearms entering Grenada that were caught and so on that they found. Yeah? So that's what they found. That doesn't mean that was all. So what is being done in relation to that? What is being done in other areas? So one, to reduce and stop what is going on. And secondly, to ensure that the general public feels some sense of safety and security. They feel some sense of confidence in relation to what is being done. Yeah, but if they don't know what is being done, they can't feel safe. confident, and they can't feel anything because they don't know what is being done, so they can't feel anything but fear and uncertainty. We can't continue like that. Something has to be said, yeah? And someone is asking where to get the new history book. That's the history book that they now have in the schools, written by Dr. Dow. I am not sure. Most likely, I believe the bookstores should have it. If they don't have it yet, it will be in stock at the bookstores. I know one of the original plans when the book was conceived under the New National Party was to have the book in a digital format so that you would have a license from the publisher that would allow Grenada to have the book in a digital form so that students could therefore have the book on their devices instead of having to have the paper book. They could have the book digitally on their devices. That was part of the discussions when the Honorable Emlyn Pear was the Minister of Health, and that idea was conceived to move forward with that particular project. Is this government going to go forward with it in the digital format? I am not sure. Or if parents are going to have to go around and purchase the book, I am not sure. So I will endeavor to find out more in relation to that particular issue. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. That's the number for you to call and get on to the inside of tonight's program. So I'm saying you have many people that can advise in relation to the issue of crime and violence. You have the former government that have dealt with that issue before. Little upsurges every now and then, they dealt with it before. You have former police officers. You could form them into a committee and ask them to assist on that issue. We've got a call online. Good night. We've got a call online. Good night. Hello?
Hello?
Yes, you're a live caller. Go right ahead.
Tell you that I promised to send something to your phone, so I was send it for you. Remember something that going to tell you a baby was coming?
That one is not for the program, brother. We're going to talk that one personally.
Yes.
That one is not for the program. All right, brother. All right. Mm-hmm. Yeah, that one is not for the program. Right. 440. Fred said Davids. 440-737. 44. Well, you know I'm laughing. 440-737. That's the number for you to call and get on to the inside of tonight's program. And you know, many of you may realize I have not spoken in depth in relation to the issue with Minister Ron Redhead and the accident that he was involved in with the young man. You all realize I haven't spoken at length about that because in my estimation, I believe that in somebody like me starting to take the issue and push it and so on, a lot of people may start to think, well, it's a political issue. When really, what has happened here is, first of all, we have a child that's involved in this thing. A child who is now injured. And I was listening to the mother yesterday. And it's really, really disheartening to hear what that mother has been going through. Yeah? Before the child could be placed on a ward in the general hospital, you had the Government Information Service issuing a press release that said that no one involved received any serious injury. So they consider the woman's child as no one. Yeah? Or none of the parties involved. Whichever wording they used. Yeah? Because I would think that a fracture to your pelvic bone is a serious issue. But yet still we had a release from the Government Information Service. I don't know why. Because I would have thought that at a point in time that something like that happened, that you ought to have heard from the Royal Grenada Police Force. In the same way, when there is a murder or body found or something like that, you hear from the Royal Grenada Police Force, there's an accident, whatever, you hear from the Royal Grenada Police Force. So in the first instance, I thought we would have heard from the Royal Grenada Police Force in relation to that issue. Yeah, that didn't materialize. In fact, up to this point in time, I don't think I've seen a release from the Royal Grenada Police Force in relation to that issue. But up jumps the Government Information Service with false information, actually lying. Whoever wrote the release, whether it's the new press secretary or whoever was told to write that release, lied to the Grenadian people. Because you now have a child that has to be on crutches. I'm hearing the mother speaking of the child actually needing a wheelchair and that sort of thing. And from how the lady speaks and from one or two things that I've heard, the lady seems to be a very hard-working lady. She works hard to do what she has to do. But instead of offering support and instead of trying to help, what you're hearing is a set of attacks on the lady and on her child, and that is unfair. In the first instance, every one of the individuals involved in putting out the video with the child should be dragged before the courts. That's the first thing. There are laws in this country. I can't remember the exact law itself. I'll pull it up and ensure that I have it during this week. So expect that during this week. That speak to young people that were involved in certain things. Yeah? So we have an accident here. You are not supposed to put out the name of the individual or the image of the individual or any information that can lead people who do not know who the individual is to know who the individual is. Yeah? So if a young person is involved in a crime, whether as the victim or as the perpetrator, legally, no media entity or otherwise, people who feel there's media entity, because these days with social media, a lot of people think that they are media entities. Yeah? You are not supposed to put out any information that can tell people that is that child. Yeah? You're not supposed to do that. Because what you've opened the child to, right now, people start to attack the child. Oh, the child bongs the man, which total nonsense. But the child bongs the man and Tim K ain't see no brake light until quite down the road. But that's another story. Let the police deal with that. But, oh, the child bongs him, all kind of nonsense. That is not the issue. The child is injured. Anybody asking about the child, what is the present state of the child? Anybody reach out and say, hey, let me find, if I could find the mother and try and assist. Yeah? But instead of that, everybody focusing on the minister. Yeah? Let's hope that the law takes its course. What has to happen. I don't know if insurance is involved. I don't know if insurance was informed. I don't know what's taking place in relation to it. But I'm saying that a child is involved, and that should be the first and foremost in everybody's mind. It's not a big man or whatever. It's a child that now has to spend all this time in bed, out of school, in pain. And the child also has another underlying condition. It's not my business to say the mother said it on air, but it's not my business to repeat it. But the child has another underlying condition. That makes the situation even worse. And the reason I didn't get into this before, because I didn't want it to seem as though, oh, is NNP attacking Ron and NNP going behind Ron and all kind of thing. Something has happened. I drive too. Yeah, many of us drive. So we understand all of that. But there's no need. You see, some of these goons don't know their place. So they're attacking the mother and attacking the child and so on. No, it's not in my place to defend. I think the woman, she could well defend herself. She don't need me to defend her. She could well defend herself. Yeah? But to take out video and you're sending video and you're sending it here and you're trying to embarrass the child to make people laugh at the child and all this kind of thing. Come on, man. Seriously. In the name of what? Trying to defend an individual? So you're trying to destroy a child's life. and his mothers and probably their families just because you're trying to defend a minister who very well might be in the wrong? Come on, we have to do better than that. We definitely have to do better than that because, believe me, it ain't right. And all those people who are attacking them and saying all sorts of nonsense should feel ashamed of themselves. Big hardback man with a set of stupidness. Yeah? Big hardback man. Look, over the past couple of weeks, many of you may realize that you've been seeing a lot of stuff from Talking Points all over the place. You've been seeing it all over YouTube, all over Facebook, all outside of the program itself. You've been seeing stuff circulating, all on WhatsApp, everything you've been circulating. And you all wouldn't like to see some of the comments because some of the comments are automatically hidden by Facebook and YouTube, and so they automatically hide some of the comments. And you all wouldn't like to see some of what these people have been saying under the thing. That's why over the weekend I had to reinstitute certain things that we did before, and I had to name and shame. Yeah, but you all would not like to see because they can't deal with the facts. They can't deal with the issues that we speak about on this program. Yeah? And not that I speak about, that we speak about on this program. Yeah? And as we get into that, we're about 3 minutes to the hour of 9 o'clock. I was listening to the Bob Report. Unfortunately, due to the technical issues, I didn't get a chance to load what I need to load. If I have to do that, I have to take about a music break and try to load those things over to the system. But I wanted to get into one or two things that I heard said over the weekend on the Bob Report in relation to the Kimpton by Kawana development. Yes, the True Blue Development Limited. Now, as far as we know, by the ending of, not last week, I think it was the week before, yeah, there ought to have been an agreement between the government, according to what the Attorney General said. There ought to have been an agreement between the government of Grenada and the True Blue Development Limited to end the arbitration process that they had taken to IPSID or whatever they call it, ISID or whatever, that they have taken there, and also to settle. I'm hearing figures of 22 million plus, because 22 million one way, and then they've got to pay for the properties and so on. I'm hearing things such as the people who I was speaking about. Remember we said that one, they're going to have to acquire the land and everything, which they're going to have to pay for. They're going to have to pay the True Blue Development Limited and so on. They're going to have to pay them, right? But then they have to pay all the people who, through CBI, put their money into that program. And all of these people put their money into that program, yeah, through CBI and obtained a Grenadian passport. And now we're being told that the government of Grenada is going to pay back all these people their money in relation to the property that they bought, because they're saying some of these people have the property freehold and different things under that project, and they're going to have to pay back for it. But remember this, if they paid 150,000 for the property is no longer worth 150,000. It's worth more because development has taken place. Yeah, it has been developed to a certain point. So it's either a case of you're going to give back people the exact amount of money that they've spent on the program, or you're going to have to give them back more. But it definitely, if all things are done fairly and according to the Land Acquisition Act, if all things are done fairly, these people might be getting more money than they paid into the project, and they don't have to give up their Grenadian passport. I also heard another statement that I heard there was that under this project, under that particular project as well, under the CBI project on a whole, I remember you had X amount, I think it was around 2,000 people applying and so. And I heard Mr. Richard Duncan saying that 90% of those people are Russians. Of the successful applicants under the CBI program, 90% of them are Russians. And then you wonder why Grenada is selected for certain treatment by certain countries. Yeah? So there are several things from that program I wanted to borrow from Dr. Bob for tonight's program, but I didn't get the opportunity to load them yet. In fact, I think what I could do, at this stage is try and take a couple minutes. It wouldn't take me long. Take a couple minutes and try and bring it up so that we would be able to have a wider discussion in relation to these. So let me take a short break and do that right about now. So I think I have pretty much got everything set up here, because I want to play some, and I'm saying I got this from yesterday's program. That was the Bob Report, yesterday's Bob Report. One of our good listeners here, and I don't know why this computer is deciding to do this to me. The computers are misbehaving tonight, yeah? Oh, come on. Oh, come on. Yeah, the computer is deciding to do what computers do, yeah, tonight on me. So let me see if I can get around that and find another way to get the audio out there, because I can play it online right now, but I don't want to play it and the listeners via, okay, I think I've got it now, right. So I didn't want to play it and then the listeners who are listening via Real FM don't hear, other than that only the people online would have heard what it is that I was playing. And let me just make sure that I have everything here. Right. So I'm going to play this one first of all, because I want you all to hear exactly what was being said in relation to, and let me just make sure what it is that I'm about to play here, which one. I don't want to be playing one on air and the other one and playing the wrong one on the thing. So let me just, I believe this is the, okay, let me just make sure here.
And we must do what we can, regardless where we may be. Our country facing is dark and sour, and our people need us today more than ever. But in our fight to recover, if ever we feel to surrender.
Right, so I think I've got it here. Let me just play this one for you. And then we will discuss, because I want you to hear this one first of all, and then I'll move to the other one.
All the OECS countries that sell passports stopped selling passports to Russia, except us. We established an office in Moscow to sell passports. Most of these 2,000 passports that we sold in the first 6 months of this year, Richard, can you tell me how many of those are Russians and what's the breakdown between nationalities?
Okay, so Kellon, let me start off with...
yes, go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, if you may, right? So I think Oliver has done an excellent job in highlighting what, to my mind, is the major risk facing the CBI program, right? So we speak of a windfall, and we understand where that windfall came about. I think Brian just segued into it in terms of the Russian market. So to answer your question, Brian, the overwhelming majority, maybe 90% of the applicants approved so far, has been in the area of Russian nationality. So that one, I think.
And have we thought of the implications of this?
Brian, let him finish, please. Brian, let him finish.
Yeah, ask for the number. I'll give you the number, roughly speaking.
Right, so while other countries, 90% of the applications that were approved through the CBI program, according to Mr. Richard Duncan, and I believe he is the chair of the CBI board, are from Russia, 90%. And this at the point in time that you have what's taking place with Ukraine, this at the point in time that you have what is taking place when it comes internationally, yeah? And the sanctions that have been placed on Russia and so on. Yet still, Grenada, the other Caribbean islands weren't doing it. 90% of the people that got passports under the CBI program in that 2000 or so they're talking about were Russians. Yeah, and there are implications to that, as the other panelist was mentioning. There are implications to that. It's not something that certain countries are going to be looking at favorably. So there are implications to that one. There's also another one I wanted to play for you all here. Yeah, I wanted to play another one here for you all, because I'm kind of concerned when it comes to this particular issue, because remember they're saying that they've settled and so on, and they're paying X amount of money and so. But I am still concerned in relation to that. Yes, so let me just play this one for you all.
Clearly, there's a process that you follow when you come to compensate people when you acquire the property, i.e. you get a professional valuer to value the asset that is being acquired. So that's going to take place. So once the valuation is completed, then people are armed with the information they need to negotiate and see what is a fair and just compensation. So that is a work in progress. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, I want you all to pay attention to what was said there. We're going to come back to that one. And the final one I want you all to listen to, and I want you all to pay attention to, is this one. Let me just make sure I have it here. You're right. I think it is this one. Let me see. Oh boy, yeah. Just making sure I have the right one for you. Good.
The way the project is...
Right, so let me just get to this. Right.
The way the project is designed, right, you have to go into the legal documents.
Yeah.
So that people actually have property rights that need to be respected, right, in our jurisdiction. So compulsory acquisition is something that happens throughout the world. The question is, what is a fair and just compensation for those persons whose properties have been acquired? And that is
a question. So these are people who would have bought into the previous project, right?
Correct.
And are now part owners of the previous project and would have received passports.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Right. So we're now talking about compulsorily acquiring their shares in the hotel, their ownership rights in the hotel. We're talking about buying that back. What happened to their passports? Do we get that back too?
No. That is untouched, not affected in any way, shape, or form.
So they would have bought in, gotten passports, and now we're buying them back, but they still have the passports. Do you see something wrong in this?
Absolutely nothing wrong in that. Your purchase had different components to it.
Well, I don't see how you can see there's nothing wrong with this, because if I buy something and it comes with certain rights and I am there selling those rights, therefore basically I get a passport for nothing. Because
I think not, Brian. That is.
Let me finish. They would have bought into the scheme. They would have bought into the Kawana Bay scheme. Say they've spent 200,000, 300,000, they bought in and they got their passports. The government is now going to buy them back at somewhere about the same price. So at the end of the day, they're going to get a passport for little or nothing.
So yes, folks, I wanted you all to hear those three particular parts. There are others, but I won't get into those tonight. But there are others. Now, first things first. When we listen to Mr. Duncan speaking, he is saying that assessment has to be done on the property to place a value on it so that the properties can be repurchased by the government of Grenada. That is not what we've been hearing. We've been hearing a settlement has been arrived. So is he telling us basically that the government of Grenada has not proceeded with a case that they had an excellent chance of winning and making the developers pay you, the people of Grenada, Is he saying that the government gave up that case and is now settled, and even at this stage, as of yesterday, still is unaware of how much they're going to have to pay out? Because remember, he's the one that's saying that an assessment still has to be done. I should have it somewhere here. Let me see if I could get it back. I'll just pull the audio this time, and I keep making a mistake with my mouse today. Right, yeah. Let me see if I can find which one it is again. Yeah, I need to go through all of this process. Right, so they are going to be allowed. The people, first of all, will get back their money, and they get to keep the Grenadian passport. They paid the money to be able to get a Grenadian passport. They paid the money to get Grenadian citizenship. They are being allowed to keep the Grenadian citizenship, but they are being given back their money in the investment that they made to get that citizenship. Something in song right about that to me. But again, maybe who is me? Maybe I don't have enough sense to understand what's being said. So let's listen again to what Mr. Duncan had to say here in relation to the final settlement price, because what he is leading me to understand now is even at this late stage, when as far as we the Grenadian people are concerned, week before an agreement was penned between the government of Grenada and the developers, even at this stage, the government still isn't sure how much money they're going to have to pay out. Yeah? So that at least that's what he's saying.
There's a process that you follow when you come to compensate people when you acquire the property, i.e. you get a professional valuer to value the asset that is being acquired. So that's going to take place.
That's going to take place. That has taken place, you know. That is going to take place. I'm not misquoting him.
That is being acquired. So that's going to take place. So once the valuation is completed, then people are armed with the information they need to negotiate and see what is a fair and just compensation.
But what negotiation? Because you've already said that negotiations were completed and the arbitration is not going to go through, that you've come to a settlement. Yeah, and I understand fully that they're talking about two groups of people here. They're speaking about the developers and you're speaking about the CBI investors. But before you make the arrangement with the developers to drop the case, this ought to have been taken into consideration, because all of these people, if it's 100 of them, if it's 90 of them, if it's 20 of them, can now bring a class action lawsuit against the government of Grenada, who, by negotiating and going to what they're doing now with True Blue Development, have basically said, hey, we are wrong, when in truth and in fact the government of Grenada is not wrong in this. But they have said, they have backed down, because again, they had the belly and the guts. But as some people say, there may be other reason than belly and guts. But they have backed down from this now. So that these developers have, these people who have paid, the investors, who have their money in this project and are not seeing the project move forward, and now you're telling them you're going to give them back the money. Do they think that if these people put a 200,000, they're going to be giving them back a 200,000? No. You passed through the area. Development took place. So what they paid, when they paid for basically a space. That space has now been developed. Structures have been put up. Yeah, utilities have been run. So the price that it was when they invested, that has increased. So you may very well find that the government of Grenada, and I'll just use a figure here, I'm not saying this is what the figure is. Let's say the government of Grenada made $20 million off of that project. You may find that the government end up having to pay now. Because of the move that this government has made, you may find that this government end up having to pay back now 50 million or 25 million or 30 million or something like that. But it definitely, if they made 20 million, it's not 20 million they're going to be paying, and it's not less than 20 million that they're going to be paying back. It's definitely going to be more. Yeah, and they better hope that the people don't ask for interest on the money. So, again, it is a bad move. It's a bad move by this administration. Let's just hear the rest of what he's saying here.
So that is a work in progress. Yeah. Okay.
So
clearly, there's a process that you follow when you come to compensate people when you acquire the property, i.e. you get a professional valuer to value the asset that is being acquired. So that's going to take place. So once the valuation is completed, then people are armed with the information they need to negotiate and see what is a fair and just compensation. So that is a work in progress. Yeah. Okay.
Remember, that is not what we're hearing. We were hearing that the government do so wonderful negotiation, and that Grenada had stand to lose a pile. Grenada didn't stand to lose. Grenada was going to win that case. Yeah? The developer brought the case, but Grenada would have won that case had it gone through, because the facts bear themselves out. The facts bear themselves out. For instance, if you are coming and you're saying you're going to do a development in Grenada, and part of the requirement is that you place 20% of the cost, the total cost, you place 20% in, and then you can raise the rest through the sale of the passports, the CBI, the investment. You can raise the other 80% that you need to get, right? But then you come back to the government and you're saying, hey, the number of passports you're allowing us to sell, increase it. But the amount you're increasing it by is going to more than cover the 20% that you are supposed to invest. In other words, you'll end up paying nothing because you've covered, through the sale of passports alone, you've covered the entire cost of the project itself. So even if you had put your 20% in, you're going to get your 20% back. So government had a strong case. This government just decided that they're not going to go to any arbitration and so on with it for whatever reason. Yeah? And I've said it before. And I've seen the threats that they're sending online because I've said it. And I will continue to make this fair comment. The Prime Minister, present Prime Minister of Grenada, Mr. Deacon Amis Mitchell, said that he is willing to take money from CBI investors for his political campaign. Yeah? And the time that he said that, the talk out there, the chatters on the street and on the boat and on the plane and all over, what you were hearing out there were that the same investors, not investors, but the same developers involved in that project, the Kimpton by Kawana, you were hearing the talk out there of the possibility that they funded the NDC campaign. You were hearing figures of 2 million and 3 million and all sort of thing. You were hearing people calling out there. That was circulating in the Grenadian society. I heard it, and most of you who are listening to this program, if not all, heard it as well. That the man vexed with Doc and he's the one that giving the money. The man vexed with Doc and giving the money to them fellas and because he want to get rid of Doc. We heard that story out there. So all of a sudden, that same individual, that same company is now going to significantly benefit. Because remember, they borrowed money out of this program and they built other facilities. Right now, the government of Grenada, who has a good case against them, is going to now pay them off and then have to pay off the investors and acquire the property. This is madness. There's no sane person who seriously looks at this issue and is thinking about this issue with any level of clarity that can say that what is being done makes any sense. It doesn't make sense business-wise. It doesn't make sense common sense. It doesn't make any sense. Go through the case, complete the case. Because you'd have ended up with a situation that the developers had to pay you. But no, for some reason, you decide that you are going to pay off the developers, end the thing, and then pay off the investors on top of it. And to add insult to injury, all the investors get to keep the passport that they got based on investing in that project. Yeah? So the deal's sweet for them. They get to keep the passport and they get the money back. And not just the money back, they're getting more than, I am positive that they are going to get much more, because if you even try to pay them less than they paid into this project, they're going to take it to court. They're going to take it to court. It's a straight case. And you don't have a defense because you've already said that you're wrong. When you wasn't wrong, but the government, it's a continuum. This government has said that government wrong. So you can't pay them under, even if it's one decide that, hey, I ain't taking less. I ain't taking less than what I paid into it. You have to go and find the money and put the additional and pay them. And all of this could have been avoided had you simply allowed the process to proceed. In fact, it didn't even reach to the stage of going through the full arbitration there now, because there was another issue, which was the first level, to discuss whether the case had to go to ICID or whatever it's called, or go to the OECS courts. So that was something that was in the courts right now to be, and the government didn't even wait for an outcome in relation to that to say, well, okay, at least if we wait to find out from that and it's decided that, yes, it has to be discussed at the OECS courts, at least we have one up on them. So even if we decide we want to negotiate at that point in time, we're negotiating from a position of strength. No, they didn't even wait for that. Just give them the money. The same people that everybody in Grenada was hearing the rumors of, and I'm making a fair comment in relation to, that everybody was hearing, that gave you money. That is what we was hearing. We could tell us if it's true or if it's not true. We wouldn't know. We don't have access to your accounts. We don't have access to the NDC accounts. Yeah? So I've seen this. Some of them telling me, don't say that. Oh, yeah, don't say. I say it again. I say it again. Yeah? Because what I'm saying here is all fact. This is what we were hearing. We were hearing that the monies that the NDC got to campaign, we were hearing that those monies came from various people in CBI. We were hearing the allegations that Henley and Partners was deeply involved here as well, that they were part of funding the political campaign. In fact, the person who ran the Henley and Partners, and those of you who are very au fait and can go online and research Henley and Partners, those of you who know who Henley and Partners are, just remember that the current treasurer of the NDC was in charge of Henley and Partners office here in Grenada. The same individual who is the treasurer of the NDC, right, who is, I believe, the deputy chairperson or chairperson of the Grenada Development Bank, chairperson, I think, of the Grenada Development Bank, yeah, was involved in that grant program, and also now is, well, I think they're an advisor, and they are also now a diplomat on behalf of Grenada to get business interests here for Grenada, and they also now have their own CBI company, ABS, yes, Miss Andrea St. Bernard, or ASB, or whatever it is. So they have their own CBI company as well. To the point of where the Prime Minister says he doesn't see a conflict of interest with them having a CBI company and being a diplomat on behalf of Grenada. He doesn't see a conflict of interest there. He didn't see a conflict, he didn't see a conflicts. He didn't see no conflict of interest in relation to that one. This is what is taking place. So these people still don't know how much they have to pay yet. These are the same people that come with a supplementary budget the other day. They asked for 60 million when it came to land acquisition. So they asked for a figure when, according to what we are hearing from the chairperson of the CBI Board of Directors and also an individual who has also been on the committee that was looking at the case and so on to come to a final decision of the direction that government must take. The same Mr. Richard Duncan. Yeah? And now we're hearing him saying,
clearly there's a process that you follow when you come to compensate people when you acquire the property, i.e. you get a professional valuer to value the asset that is being acquired. So that's going to take place. So once the valuation is completed, then people are armed with the information they need to negotiate and see what is a fair and just compensation. So that is a work in progress. Yeah. Okay.
So again, you heard it for yourself. It is a work in progress. But yet still, they went for $60 million for land acquisition. They're claiming that the investors now, remember what they invested in, is property, and that they have the property freehold, and part of their thing is to take the property back freehold from people, and anybody that's gaining the property, you give it leasehold. But remember, they're also saying that True Blue Development will have nothing to do with that project again. They have a new entity that would have to come in and take over that project, and they're doing like the searching for one, but from what I've heard, they have one already. Let me repeat that. Yes, I want to repeat it because I want them to hear it. From what I've heard, they have one already. So they're giving the impression that they have to go and find a developer now to take over that project when they already have one lined up. They will take a couple months and do like researching and we're looking at different leads and blah, 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 blah. They have one already. All right? So that is what is going to take place in relation to that. But I'm telling you, folks, the phone lines are open. 440-7377, 440-7377. Because I was listening to this and I was wondering, man, I ain't think I hearing what I hearing. No, I ain't think I hearing what I hearing, because it means basically that you don't know how much you have to pay out. But yet still there was in Parliament. You heard the Prime Minister in Parliament. Then you heard, and listen, last week, the acquisition, the second publication of the acquisition of that property, that publication was done in last week's Government Gazette, you know. Yeah, so the second publication, basically, it means government is nearly back in ownership of that property. Yeah, well, not back, but in ownership now of that property. So then the government is not going to develop it. The government of Grenada isn't going to find whether it's 100 million, 150 million, 200 million to complete that project. They're not going to find it, all right? They're going to find somebody who's going to come in and take over the project. And their argument was, you have guys that leave in school that should have been working in that project, and you have people that should have been working there already, and all this sort of thing. But they're not studying that those same people are the ones that are going to have to pay the taxes to cover the payments that they are making now to the developers that should not have been paid. The government has a great case, but they just give it up for whatever reason. You, on your own, could look at the reason. And just remember something. Whether it is the property on Grandans Beach, where Radisson is right now, whether it is the property, what used to be, as we call it, Flamboyant, where Kimpton by Kawana is now, or whether it's the property in Calavini, where you're going to have the teaching hospital, and so that they said they're going to put there. Whether it is, lawyers have some money to make. I just remember lawyers does make good money in relation to conveyance and them kind of thing. So some lawyers have some money to make. Those things is just the government. No, they have some lawyers that have some money to make in relation to this as well. So folks, 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. So yeah, I kind of, believe me, I just find it so kind of confusing. Even saying, and just this part again, I found kind of confusing to me.
The way the project is designed, right, you have to go into the legal documents.
Yeah.
So that people actually have property rights that need to be respected, right, in our jurisdiction. So compulsory acquisition is something that happens throughout the world. The question is, what is a fair and just compensation for those persons whose properties have been acquired? And that is
a question. So these are people who would have bought into the previous project, right?
Correct.
And are now part owners of the previous project and would have received passports.
Definitely. Absolutely.
Right. So we're now talking about compulsorily acquiring their shares in the hotel, their ownership rights in the hotel. We're talking about buying that back. What happened to their passports? Do we get that back too?
No. That is untouched, not affected in any way, shape, or form.
So they would have bought in, gotten passports, and now we're buying them back, but they still have the passports. Do you see something wrong in this?
Absolutely nothing wrong in that. Your purchase had different components to it.
Well, I don't see how you can see there's nothing wrong with this, because if I buy something and it comes with certain rights and I am there selling those rights, therefore basically I get a passport for nothing. Because
I think not, Brian. That is.
Let me finish. They would have bought into the scheme. They would have bought into the Kawana Bay scheme. Say they've spent 200,000, 300,000, they bought in and they got their passports. The government is now going to buy them back at somewhere about the same price. So at the end of the day, they're going to get a passport for little or nothing.
So again, 440-7377, that's the number for you to get onto the inside. And let me just see if I can pull this one up for you here, because I want you all to see that, yes, there has been, oh no, this is actually for today. I haven't seen this one yet, so I'll have to check that one out. So yeah, this is Friday's Gazette, Friday's copy of the Government Gazette. And this is, so September 8th, you see the date there. And this is in relation to the acquisition of that property. All right. So you're seeing the property here, right? And you see that they're describing the property here. Yeah. So the property, the second publication that needs to take place legally has taken place. We've got a call online. Good night.
Sheldon, I never hear more craziness than that. Trust me.
Well,
I never hear more craziness than that. Grenadian, well, we the taxpayers' money, they go sell us just now. So all we taxpayers' money, take it and give this man. This man do some wrong thing in Grenada. Wrong thing. You're taking our monies and selling it in some other country to bring other hotels. We had the ball in we hand and we drop it. We had the ball in we hand and we drop it. I have never heard more craziness than that. Boy, Grenadians, get up. Wake up. This government is going to bring us down a precipice and break all of us neck. Get up, Grenadians. Sheldon, I like your program. I love it. But this government is going to break our neck. Grenadians, get up. Wake up. Thank you, sir.
All right, my brother. 440-7377. That's 440-7377. So I'm telling you, that's what the situation is in relation to that. Yeah? So as it stands right now, even after going into Parliament and making an application for an additional $60 million, well, it's 100 and something, 143 or something in total, but an additional $60 million out of that in relation to quote-unquote land acquisition. Remember, they said they're going to acquire that land in Calivini. They're going to purchase that land. So that's not, well, technically. So they're going to purchase that land in Calivini that I believe belong to the Grenada Sugar Factory or whatever it is. They're going to purchase those lands and adjoining lands. They're going to acquire some of the lands that are adjoining that. So outside of the lands that they've identified that belongs to that entity, there are people that are holding land near to that most likely will be acquired by the government, you know. Because if you're going to put a hospital, you obviously can't leave somebody living within a certain distance that could go and decide they're putting up a dance hall. Or they're going and put up some kind of entity that's going to create noise or going to create some sort of discomfort to the people at the hospital itself. They are going to have to purchase some of the adjoining lands as well. Yeah, and then they've spoken about doing housing and so on in a portion somewhere, a portion as well, right? Which I don't understand, because if you're doing the hospital and then you're doing housing in the same place, are you going to be able to eliminate all the noise that comes from a housing project or different things like that? People are going to always remain quiet. They wouldn't have a birthday party, different things like that that's going to make noise at particular times. So what are they going to do? They said 60 million. We're now hearing the chair of the CBI committee saying here that, hey, we still ain't sure how much money we're going to spend there, you know, because the process is we will have, you remember what he said? It's not me say it, he said.
Clearly, there's a process that you follow when you come to compensate people when you acquire the property, i.e. you get a professional valuer to value the asset that is being acquired. So that's going to take place. So once the valuation is completed, then people are armed with the information they need to negotiate and see what is a fair and just compensation. So that is a work in progress. Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, it's not me that's saying that. They are the ones that's saying that, right? They are the ones that's saying that. And just remember, it have some lawyers go make some real money. Because remember the ones they're talking about in Calivini, they said they're going to pay a certain amount. I can't remember how much million they're going to pay up front. And then there's going to be a payment period over 7 years. They're going to be paying a certain amount of money a year until they finish pay for the property. But they're going to acquire the property, they're going to pay, right, a certain amount of money, and then they're going to pay off over a period of 7 years. So whoever owned that property and thing, and whoever is the lawyers, they're showing some money for the next 7 years. All right? Yeah, whoever the lawyers are. I don't know who is their lawyers, But whoever the lawyer or lawyers are, they're going to make some nice money over the next 7 years, isn't it? Yeah, when them payments being made and Tim got the payment, sometimes the payment had to be made through the lawyer office, you know. Ask Grenlec and WRB and them about that. Sometimes the payment does have to be made through the lawyer office and through the lawyer account. Yeah, ask Grenlec and them which lawyer the money that had to be paid by the state of Grenada, which lawyer office had to collect that money and how much that lawyer office was able to get. All right? Yeah. Because we're hearing that. We're hearing that over 2,000 passports as well. 90% of that Russians. So we have quite a few, over 1,000 and something Russians now in Grenada. That is what we have now. We have some new citizens.
All ACS countries that sell passports stopped selling passports to Russia, except us. We established an office in Moscow to sell passports. Most of these 2,000 passports that we sold in the first 6 months of this year, Richard, can you tell me how many of those are Russians and what's the breakdown between nationalities?
Okay, so Kalon, let me start off with...
yes, go ahead, Richard.
Yeah, if you may, right? So I think Oliver has done an excellent job in highlighting what, to my mind, is the major risk facing the CBI program, right? So we speak of a windfall, and we understand where that windfall came about, but I think Brian just segued into it in terms of the Russian market. So to answer your question, Brian, the overwhelming majority, maybe 90% of the applicants approved so far, has been in the area of Russian nationality. So that one, I think.
And have we thought of the implications of this?
Brian, let him finish. Please, Brian, let him finish.
Yeah, ask for the number. I'll give you the number, roughly speaking.
Just remember lawyers involved and okay, I think 4407377. That's the number. Wow, that time already. 4407377 347-329-3101. Those are the numbers for you to call and get onto the inside of tonight's program. Yeah. Let me take this call. Hello, good night.
Hi, Sheldon. Good night, and good night to the Talking Point family, all NMPs, and all those leaning on the fence. It's time to come home. You know, I always echo that sentiment that there are always room in the house of the new National Party. The house being our symbol. Sheldon, from listening to the clipping that you're playing, right, you want to tell me that's what Grenadians went out and voted for on June 23rd? This is how, are we so gullible? Are we so lay back to allow a set of people to fool us into tomfoolery and take over our country like as hijackers? These are hijackers. That's how I have to term these people, because what they have said about Dr. Mitchell and the NMP, that they came into power and did worse in a few months, and they're way into the second term. We have not seen anything from them done. When I say second term, second year, they're way into it. When you take it, the next 2 months will be budget, and they're into this. That will be the second budget cycle they'll be reading to the Grenadian public. I mean, where are the plans? Where are the plans? I mean, I'm asking. The chatters on the street are asking questions, and they want to know what's really happening. But they are also in front of people, those asking questions now, how likable they are as a people. I want to know what these people expect to get from the population. And I don't want the population to lie to them. I want to tell them straight up, because I would have said to them straight up, you all, as a bunch of losers, as SEMA says, running the country, and a set of wicked people following blindly behind them, it's time for all to go, instead of giving them any kind of a consolation. But people like this who sometimes are a little bit dishonest, and I really don't like that as an individual. I believe in either you stand for something or you stand for nothing. You fall for anything, and they have fallen for anything. And this is about time to pick themselves up from grace and show the world and show humanity that they stand for something. We are a Christian society, and right must be right. Wrong must be wrong. And if we cannot differentiate between those, we are falling for everything and anything, and we are doomed for failure.
Yes,
Thank
indeed.
you, Sheldon.
All right. Thank you very much, caller.
Okay, good night. You're welcome. Bye.
Yes, 440-7377 and 347-329-3101. You can also call us via WhatsApp on 440-7377. Like for those of you in the US hunting, those of you all in Africa that we know that's be listening to the program, you know what all you doing up this hour the night in Nigeria and Gabon and all these kind of places. Are they speaking French in Gabon and all listening to talking points, right? Yes, you can call 440-73 440-737. Well, put 1473 440-7377. You can call that number and get through. All right, nice. And folks, yeah, I am continually asking these questions because I find something right there, something right there, something not sounding right with the whole thing. That's why I have to ask questions. Because in my mind, I was taught critical thinking and something just not sounding right. I think we have a call online. Hello? Hello?
Hello, good night.
Hi, good night. You're a live caller, go right ahead.
I'm in your program every night, but a straight point. With all these great educated people we have here in Grenada, knowing all about, we have a lot of economists and everything. You are sharing to us all of the information and why the people who know a lot of us, we don't know a lot. Why don't they stand up, whether they're NNP, NDCs, talk about these things? Please, sir, I hope some people will talk and educate people like me who is not as educated.
Mm-hmm. All right, my brother. Thank you so very much for your input.
Thank you and have a blessed night.
All right, thank you. Yeah, folks, I'm confused. As I said, I was taught critical thinking, and what I'm hearing here does not match up with critical thinking. It does not match up. Yeah? And someone was asking a while ago, yeah? Where the Prime Minister is living right now, not the Prime Minister's residence as in what exists in Mount Royal, but where the Prime Minister is living now in the south of the island. Who owns that property? Is it the Prime Minister or is it a friend of the Prime Minister, etc., who owns that property? Does that property adjoin the properties that are now being acquired by the government of Grenada? Let me repeat very clearly. The property that the Prime Minister is living on now, does it adjoin the properties that were just acquired by the government of Grenada? Because I'm going somewhere with that. But we have a call online. Good night.
Good night, Mr. Scott.
Good night. Good night.
You think Mr. Duncan could tell us how many persons he vetted? 90%.
He vetted?
Of this.
No.
Yeah, because if he's the chairman, he's the one vetting them, not so?
Well, there's a vetting process that includes various bodies like the FIU and so on that go through the vetting process, and then I think it comes back to the committee of which he's the chair, and they make the recommendations to cabinet, and the final thing comes out from cabinet. If I'm remembering how the process works properly, but I'm not saying I'm not saying that you're wrong. I'm saying that I may have to review to be sure. I don't want to make a statement and say, yes, this is how it operates. But as far as I'm concerned, yes, he's part of the vetting process because the applications come to the committee. Then the FIU and whoever else, different bodies, do their work to verify, well, is this person a criminal, whatever, etc., etc. And then that final recommendation comes from the committee to go up to cabinet.
Because where I have an issue.
So you're correct, actually.
I think in 6 months, to vet so much person, I don't think that is correct. I might be wrong, but I think we have to study that better than that. Because look at how much persons get visas to go to the United States within a year. I don't know. I've never tried. I have no interest in North America and Europe. I'm good in the Caribbean.
I'll double check that figure for you because those figures would be available somewhere of how many people have applied and so for visas to go to the US and Canada and so on. It's available somewhere. I'll double check that for you. All right, my brother. Thank you so very much for your call. Yeah. 440737. We have just roughly about 10 minutes remaining. Let me say this as well, though. Yeah. So, as I said, I'm going somewhere with this. Because if the property that the Prime Minister is now staying on is adjoining, yeah? Or even if there's a piece of property between not his property, but the property that he's on now, if there's a piece of property between that property is joined on to what the government is acquiring now for the Kimpton by Kawana from True Blue Development Limited. What they have acquired, not are acquiring, but what they have acquired legally, because they've done 2 publications in relation to that now, what they've acquired. Because I'm wondering, who owns the property where the Prime Minister is? What does that person stand to benefit if the new developers decide they want additional property, inclusive of the property where the Prime Minister is? Don't be surprised in the future we hear all of a sudden the property where the Prime Minister presently resides ends up in the hands of the new developers of the Kimpton by Kawana project. Don't be surprised, because it's not like it's miles away. It may very well be adjoining. I don't have the plan, so I can't say if somebody have a slip of land between, but it's very close. So the question is, and our listener has posed that question, what happens? Because it's a high possibility that might end up happening, eh? Because remember, when they're acquiring property now, they want to acquire property around as well. So is it a case that property might end up in part of what's going on there? And let me ask you another question. Did the Prime Minister have any interest in the pre-existing property, the property when it was under the Flamboyant? Did he have any personal interest, apart from being a lawyer? Did he have any personal interest in that? And on the sale of that property over to True Blue Development Limited, or whatever they name, did the Prime Minister make any money in relation to that transaction? Yeah? No, I know why I'm asking the questions that I'm asking. Yeah, I'm probing. I'm trying to find the truth. I'm trying to get answers here. So that's why I'm asking the questions that I'm asking in relation to that particular project. Yeah? We've heard about who the lawyers of Issa Nicholas was in relation to the Radisson. Remember, they had the court case with Time Burke and all of that taking place, and Radisson and all of that. Go and research, find out who was the lawyers representing Issa Nicholas and some of these action and these different things like that. Right? Yeah, go, check, go online, just do a search, and you go see who was the lawyers representing, which law firm represented. And ask yourself if anybody from that law firm is now in government and what position they hold, and therefore did they direct anything in the direction of their former client. Ask yourself, who was the lawyer of the entity that owns those lands in Calivini? Because remember, lawyers does get paid for conveyance, right? Lawyers had to get paid. And me and vexed with a lawyer for getting paid, but we have to ask the questions. Yeah, because there are questions to be asked. We have a listener, yes, a caller, sorry. Good night.
Sheldon.
Yes, sir.
Good night.
Mm-hmm.
Listen me, the Flamboyant, where the Flamboyant Hotel was,
Mm-hmm.
And then on the other side, going on by BBC, just at the top side, you had Grand View Hotel, that one they call Mr. Williams. And on the top, you had Cinnamon Hill Hotel coming down. And just below that, before Cinnamon Hill Hotel, you had where Radio Grenada was.
Yeah, down in the flat down there.
Down in the flat.
Yeah.
And then after that, you get Cinnamon Hill Hotel. And the top of the hill, you get Flamboyant Hotel. And then just behind it, you get Mr. Williams' Place. So all this property is joining onto these things.
Well, I think you may have a fair idea, being the type of individual with the institutional knowledge that you have. You may be quite aware of the property on which the present Prime Minister currently resides as his residence.
Yeah.
And you would realize the proximity in relation to that to the land that has just been acquired. So I'm just asking questions here.
Yeah, because listen me, why I say that too, when during the Hurricane Ivan, me and my family live in Grandview up there for a couple of months,
What, man? You was in hotel, man?
Mr. Williams brought a couple of us up there to live because our homes were destroyed.
Yes.
And then on the top side, as I tell you, you see man, his hotel. Below, you get the Flamboyant, and on the other side, you get where Radio Grenada was. So all the property is in one.
Well, my friend, we have to ask ourselves the question. Are we looking at the possibility in the medium or short term or even long term that the property where the Prime Minister is may also end up in the hands of those developers?
Well,
the new developers.
Yeah.
Yeah, we have to ask. You never know. It might be acquired. It might be purchased outright. We don't know.
Well, Sheldon, this thing looks like a big problem,
Well, my brother, I don't think they have a problem. I think some people pocket looking kind of fat.
What happened from there? You have a good rest of the evening.
All right, my brother.
Take care.
All right. Yeah, I think some people pocket looking fat. I mean, I ain't jealous of a man if he pocket fat. You never know. Sometimes I see a man pocket looking fat and see handkerchief or he rag he have in his pocket. Sometimes he have his wallet and thing and his air had the wallet looking big, So I know, but all I'm saying is sometimes some people tell all you finish in 10. Anyway, yeah. I might stay an extra few minutes tonight. See people already sending good night and thing for me. 4407377. Yeah, 4407377. That's the number for you to call and get onto the program tonight. I have to ask these questions because I listened and I want to thank that loyal listener to Talking Points that called and said that I need to listen to that program. I've just called back a caller who was trying to reach us earlier. Hello, good night.
Yes, I was trying to reach you, Mr. Sheldon. How are you doing, sir?
I'm quite fine. You go right ahead. You're live.
I'm more calling to congratulate. I have a lot of things to say, but I know you're close to end. But just to congratulate you and keep up the good work.
No, you could say some stuff, man. We have a look at our time, man. I'm taking a look at 5 minutes extra. Go ahead.
Watch me. You see that whole issue with the attitude of the government in Parliament? It's a hurting, ugly, senseless, backward way of relating to things in this country nowadays. You see that whole mentality that has been preached in Grenada for the longest while, that the old people should go and sit down and relax themselves in this country or have nothing to do with what is going on. This is where that attitude, that disrespect is going to destroy this country. And there's a serious problem that is showing up. It's not only showing up in Parliament, it's showing up in society, period. This is where part of the problem is showing up in. Young people are disrespecting the older folks in this country in every way they get a chance, Not only with the $150 taken out from the infirm and the disabled and so on. Not only with radio talk where people are called by bad names and so on. On the ground, face to face, you see young people's attitude nowadays. I'm 67 years old. As far as I'm concerned, I'm young still because I'm strong and healthy more than most of them. But that is beside the point. The point I'm using that to make is that no matter what they consider our age to be, when it comes to you're past 60 and it's time to go and sit down and relax and do nothing, they have no idea what wisdom is about. And that's where the problem is. Wisdom resides in age, or it's supposed to be with age. And that's where the problem is. You have the most intelligent, as far as I'm concerned, the most brilliant human being who have ever been in politics in this country, Dr. Keith Mitchell.
and the kind of disrespect you have, especially in the House of Parliament, where the decorum is supposed to be to that extent of absolute respect. And there you have that example. It hurt him. I'll talk to you next time, sir.
All right. Thank you so very much, my brother. Yes, indeed. You know, we like to do that. If people try to call us, and so we try to call them back and give them the opportunity. We don't, nobody feel like we ducking them. Right here. Because they know if they call and they say wrong thing here, we just add a number and we giving it out. Yes, folks. Yeah, so just one or two questions before I leave tonight. You all realize I ain't rushing. Yeah. Before I leave tonight. One. Who owns that property where the PM is? Who owns it? So therefore, is rent being paid for it? Is he staying there free? Is rent being paid for it? And if rent is being paid for it, then it's obviously the owner that's supposed to be collecting the rent, isn't it? Yeah? So we need to find out a bit about that. Because I find it very strange that government acquiring PM all of a sudden he had to stay down there, and you know, police officers watching the other property and thing where he used to stay are hearing about. Anyway, let me leave that one alone. That might be a national security issue. I will leave that one alone. Some things that does no one that's just yeah.
Good night, Shalon.
Good night, my dear. How are you?
I'm fine.
Okay, go right ahead. Your life.
Yeah, Shalon, I have to say, it's a sad, sad situation in Grenada today. It's very, very sad that our properties have to end up in all this mess and melee under this government. I hear in another thing, I think I hear it in Parliament, that they can find a file with oil and gas, with something like that. Now, I had worked in a ministry. And if they can't find the file, I don't know, that is what the Prime Minister say. The permanent secretary, if the permanent secretary is not there now, they could find out from the secretary, the permanent secretary that was there, but they must have a file somewhere wrong in some office. Or the cabinet secretary should have some documents and some file somewhere wrong. But he coming out now and saying about they can't find a file about with Ireland. He looking to divert now this thing to Grenadians' mind, because with the mess that he going on there with all his hotel thing and all his melee going on with, they looking to divert it. But tell him Grenadians so stupid, and he can't fool Grenadians again. We tired with him, and people getting fed up with him with all his lies he coming out and lies give us the nation now. It's time for we to get up and do something. Grenada belongs to the Knani Regiment and them. It's time for we to do something. Thank you, Sheldon.
All right. Thank you so very much, caller. And folks, yeah, 3 minutes after, let me see if I could go up until about look at 10 past. Nice. Yeah, we will give it a look at 10 past. Nice. Yeah, we'll take one or two more calls. 440-7377 tonight, yes, because you know we kind of start late. We start 22 minutes late. I ain't staying 22 minutes, but we start 22 minutes late. I'll give you all your back sometime tonight, right? Yeah, staying a look a while tonight, right? Yeah, we'll get in trouble for it, but I'll stay in a few minutes tonight, right? Yeah, I'm telling you. So I really want to know who owns that property where he's staying now. Does that person or persons or entity stand to benefit since government has just acquired the adjoining properties? Yeah? As of Friday, the second publication, so they have acquired those properties and so. So do we know that if the investor is coming in and he'll be interested in the property where the PM is as well? We don't know. All right. And even while the PM is there, are we hearing of any move in relation to developing or redeveloping Mount Royal? If you're saying that Mount Royal is not suitable for a prime minister, what is being done? I didn't hear anything in the supplemental in relation to it. I didn't hear anything being said otherwise. Is there a plan to rebuild Mount Royal or to build a new prime minister's residence somewhere else? Maybe you decide that you don't want to build it in Mount Royal. You want to build a new prime minister's residence in another location. You want to put up a modern building. Maybe you want to put in a swimming pool, hot tub, jacuzzi, all them kind of thing, a tennis court. Maybe that is what they want as a prime minister. Maybe they decide that is what a prime minister need to have. You want to put up all of that and different things, and you want to put it in another location. So if that is so, say so. But it can't be a situation that you just leave the property there, which has to be maintained and so on, but you just leave the property there and say you ain't living there. All right? Nobody's saying that as prime minister we had to force you to live there. Nobody's saying that. But is the property being developed? Because believe me, you wouldn't be prime minister forever and you mightn't be prime minister for long. So in the instance of the next prime minister coming in, since you don't find it suitable for a prime minister to live in, what are you doing in relation to developing it to bring it up to the standard that you believe it should be at for a prime minister to live there? All right. So several questions in relation to these things. And I see several people sending in some other thing for me. I can't listen to the audio. My dear, I can't listen to the audio right now. All right. Yeah. So, yes, my good friend. Yeah, I really want to know who owns that property. And we've been hearing quite a lot of other things as well. Folks, I think we're going to wrap it here. That's all the time we're going to take for tonight. Yes, 6 minutes after. Yeah, because I didn't call him. I'll go in. Folks, that's all the time we have for Talking Points tonight. It's been wonderful being here with you and everything you say and do. Do it safe and secure. Before you leave, remember to click like and or subscribe. If you haven't yet subscribed, you need to follow the Talking Points page. You need to subscribe on the YouTube page. And remember to click like. Yeah, all you just forget to click like. I just have to say it every night. No, all you click the like button. Click the like button on the Facebook. Click the like button on the YouTube. Yeah, make sure and click the like buttons. All right. So as I said, that's all the time we have for tonight. And whatever you say and do it safe and secure. I want to be speaking to and with you and not about you. You know, when I get that as a message, I get time to go.
Everybody will be made permanent. Nobody going home. Take Susu in you. I don't believe in superstition. Something wrong with the transformation. From the 10 boys drink the water. Strange thing happening in Grenada. 3 houses born in Victoria. 2 born in St. David soon after. David Anderson and his brother. We had suicide and murder. Who tell them drink the water? The transformation water. From the time they drink the water, they get put a spell on Grenada. They wrong to drink the water. The transformation water. From the time they drink the water, they start to reverse Grenada. Pitimatic, Carico, Grenada, and it's that. Juve Manina hold my head and ball. PM player jump and climb my wall. But it's not the then I remember. He drank the transformation water. And when I listen to the AG, if they do wicked, well they crazy. If you don't support the agenda, they treat you like fish out of water. Who tell them drink the water? The transformation water. From the time they drink the water, they get put a spell on Grenada. They wrong to drink the water. The transformation water. From the time they drink the water, they start to reverse Grenada. Every time I put on my TV, see me Minister of MIT. By Django says small and don't panic. The whole government photogenic. If they go to the bathroom to pee, posting it up for the world to see. Taking out pictures like circus clown. On the ballot, boots on the ground. Who tell them drink the water? The transformation water. From the time they drink the water, they put a spell on Grenada. They wrong to drink the water. The transformation water. From the time they drink the water, they start to reverse Grenada. They say that fella never sweep ya. Drink the water too and he get glad. Then he take a rake in Carrico and he start to rake up them people. Brian and Daisy say the man don't care. He transfer a woman to Limley. They say how she wear a green jersey. So get rid of alone and NP. Who tell them drink the water? The transformation water. From the time they drink the water, they get put a spell on Grenada. They wrong to drink the water. The transformation water. From the time they drink the water, they start to reverse Grenada. If you sit at the report in Grenville, what does walk and bump like a square rail? Tell these malas cannot understand. How come he don't get a position? Philip is chairman and Nawasa. Glenn is ambassador to Cuba. Keto is the new house speaker. They should make you Facebook minister. Who tell them drink the water? The transformation water. the water. Like they put a spell on Grenada. They ram to drink the water. The transformation water. From the time they drink the water, they start to reverse Grenada. Same lady what mess up Jelly, no. Mess up Janice in conference also. Now she's a big minister. I want to say glory, hallelujah. To sing that song you really brave. Then it must be Tony in the grave. Holy old man take all the money and send him straight to the cemetery. Who tell them drink the water? The transformation water. From the time they drink the water, like they put a spell on Grenada. They ram to drink the water. The transformation water. From the time they drink the water, they start to reverse Grenada. I read that one on social media about a certain political leader. The man opposed the story got so vexed. Said the certain leader was the ex. The man, if he not feeling ashamed, if he have evidence to call name, he says, Malax, I'll give you a clue. I heard they calling him Mr. Susu. Who tell them drink the water? The transformation water.